Shadows of defiance. The vast darkness of space was punctuated by countless stars, each one surrounded by worlds teeming with life. Thousands of species, hundreds of civilizations, all bound together under the authority of the Concordium. Established 3 millennia ago, the Concordium had maintained a rigid galactic hierarchy. At its apex sat the 5 founder species: the crystalline Thalaxians with their hive-mind consciousness, the gaseous Mithridians whose bodies flowed like living nebulae, the reptilian Dracari with their unparalleled military might, the cybernetic Omos who had long since abandoned their biological forms, and the enigmatic Vesperians whose mastery of psychic energy made them both feared and revered. For thousands of years, the galaxy had operated on a simple principle: the strong ruled, and the weak complied. New species were categorized, assessed, and assigned their place in the cosmic order. Few ever rose above their designated station. None had ever challenged the authority of the founders. Until Earth. The day the Concordium vessels first appeared in Earth's orbit was recorded in human history as First Contact Day. It should have been called Subjugation Day. Within hours, the Dracari had disabled Earth's primitive defense systems with surgical precision. The message delivered to Earth's governments was simple: comply or face extinction. The Concordium had deemed humanity a Class 4 species, intelligent but technologically underdeveloped, suitable for resource extraction and occasional military conscription. That was 15 years ago. Commander Ilara Chen stared at the holographic display showing the approaching Concordium cruiser. From the grimy window of the abandoned mining facility on Luna's dark side, Earth hung in the void like a blue jewel, a beautiful illusion of peace. "They're early," said Damien Okoro, her chief engineer. His dark hands moved swiftly over the control panel, initiating the facility's stealth protocols. 2 days ahead of schedule. Ilara nodded, her expression grim. "They're getting suspicious." For the past decade, Ilara had led Earthrise, a covert resistance movement that had evolved from scattered insurgent cells into humanity's best-kept secret. While Earth's official government, the Global Unity Council, publicly accepted their subservient role, Earthrise operated in the shadows. "Status on Project Lazarus?" she asked. Damien's face brightened. "The final tests were completed yesterday. Dr. Nakamura says it's ready." Project Lazarus had begun 5 years ago with a discovery that changed everything. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a trench untouched by human exploration, until recently, they had found something impossible: the remnants of an ancient technology far beyond human understanding. The artifacts belonged to the predecessors, a near-mythical species that had supposedly ruled the galaxy before the Concordium. Most species believed the predecessors were merely legends. The founders had suppressed all information about them, but the evidence was irrefutable. "And they still have no idea?" Ilara asked. "None. The quantum shield technology masks any energy signatures. As far as their sensors are concerned, we're still a primitive species struggling with basic fusion technology." The quantum shield was humanity's greatest achievement, not just a defensive barrier but a technological cloak that had allowed Earth to develop military capabilities in secret, right under the watchful eyes of their oppressors. "What about the Arcturus deployment?" she asked. Arcturus Station had been the site of humanity's first significant victory 3 months ago. A minor skirmish by galactic standards, but a pivotal moment for Earth. When Dracari forces had attempted to conscript an entire human colony for a mining operation, they'd encountered unexpected resistance. 23 human ships, officially non-existent, had emerged from hiding and destroyed the Dracari cruiser. The incident had been officially dismissed as a tragic accident caused by a stellar flare, but rumors had begun to spread. "The fleet is in position," Damien confirmed. "Admiral Hassan reports all systems operational." Ilara took a deep breath. After years of preparation, they were about to take their most dangerous step yet. In 2 weeks, Earth was sending a delegation to the Galactic Council's Centennial Assembly. an event where representatives from all recognized species gathered to address matters of galactic importance. Normally, Class 4 species were not invited to speak, but Earth had petitioned through official channels, seemingly seeking only minor concessions on resource quotas. The reality was far different. "Begin final preparations," Ilara ordered. "Inform Dr. Nakamura that I want one final test of the quantum shield systems before we depart. And alert Admiral Hassan. I want the Arcturus fleet ready to jump at a moment's notice." As Damien left, Ilara remained at the window, her eyes fixed on the distant blue sphere. For 15 years, humanity had endured humiliation and exploitation. They had watched their resources stripped away, their people treated as expendable labor. They had smiled and bowed and played the role of the compliant servant species. But beneath that mask of submission, they had been learning, adapting, preparing. The Concordium had made a fatal error in their assessment of humanity. They had seen Earth's technological limitations, but failed to recognize the one thing that truly defined the human species: relentless determination. In the early years of occupation, Ilara had been a junior officer in what remained of Earth's unified defense force. She had witnessed firsthand the arrogance of the Concordium representatives. They viewed humans as barely more evolved than animals, useful tools but nothing more. They shared only the minimum technology required for humans to serve their purposes efficiently, always keeping the truly advanced knowledge to themselves. What they hadn't realized was that humans excelled at reverse engineering. Every piece of alien technology brought to Earth was meticulously studied, dissected, and eventually replicated. Progress was slow at first, but the discovery beneath the Pacific had accelerated everything. The artifacts weren't just remnants of advanced technology. They were the keys to understanding principles of physics that the Concordium had kept hidden from lesser species. Principles that Earth's scientists had adapted and transformed into weapons and defenses unlike anything seen in the galaxy for millennia. A flashing light on her communication band interrupted her thoughts. It was a message from Dr. Yuki Nakamura, the brilliant physicist who had led the research into the predecessor artifacts. "Commander," Dr. Nakamura's voice was tight with excitement. "You need to see this immediately." 15 minutes later, Ilara stood in the heart of the lunar facility's central laboratory. Before her hovered a three-dimensional projection of what appeared to be a complex molecular structure. "We've been approaching this all wrong," Dr. Nakamura explained, her small frame vibrating with barely contained enthusiasm. "We've been thinking of the quantum shield as just that, a shield. But it's so much more." She manipulated the hologram, expanding a section of the intricate pattern. "The predecessor technology doesn't just shield energy signatures. It can redirect them, amplify them, even transform them. With some modifications, we could potentially turn any incoming energy weapon against its source." "You're talking about a perfect defense," Ilara said slowly, grasping the implications. "Not just defense," Dr. Nakamura corrected. "It's a weapon unlike anything the Concordium possesses. And the beauty of it is, they won't see it coming because they don't believe it's possible. According to their understanding of physics, it shouldn't be." For the first time in years, Ilara felt a genuine smile spread across her face. "How long before it can be implemented?" "The theory is sound. Engineering is already working on the prototype. If everything goes as planned, we could have it ready before the Centennial Assembly." As Ilara left the laboratory, her mind raced with possibilities. The plan had always been bold: use the Centennial Assembly to reveal Earth's true capabilities and demand recognition as equals. But with this new development, they could do more than demand. They could demonstrate power that even the founders couldn't ignore. The following days passed in a blur of activity. Throughout the solar system, hidden facilities worked at maximum capacity. Earth's secret fleet, vessels built in asteroid bases, and concealed lunar shipyards ran final combat drills. Everything had to be perfect. 7 days before the assembly, the Arcturus incident nearly derailed everything. A Thalaxian science vessel detected unusual energy readings near one of Earth's outer colonies, Under normal circumstances, this would have triggered an immediate investigation. But Admiral Hassan's fleet was nearby, and they initiated what they called Protocol Mirage. When the Thalaxian vessel arrived to investigate, they found only a small human mining operation struggling with an obsolete reactor. The quantum shield had masked the true nature of the human military base, projecting instead the image of primitive technology on the verge of catastrophic failure. The Thalaxians, contemptuous of human incompetence, merely logged the incident and moved on. That was too close, Ilara told Admiral Hassan during their secure communication later that day. One more week. We just need to maintain the deception for one more week. Admiral Rashid Hassan, a tall man with gray-streaked beard and penetrating eyes, nodded grimly. My people are ready, Commander. The fleet is at 98% combat efficiency. When the signal comes, we'll be there. The plan was intricate but fundamentally simple. Earth's official delegation would arrive at the Centennial Assembly aboard a seemingly primitive transport vessel, exactly what the Concordium would expect from a Class 4 species. Meanwhile, Earth's true fleet would remain hidden in nearby systems, ready to jump in at a moment's notice. The night before departure, Ilara stood once more at the window of the lunar facility, gazing at Earth. Tomorrow, everything would change. Either humanity would claim its rightful place among the stars, or they would face extinction. There would be no middle ground. Behind her, Damien cleared his throat. The delegation ship is ready, Commander. Ambassador Rice sends her regards and says she's prepared to deliver the most convincing performance of her life. Ilara turned, her face set with determination. It's not a performance, Damien. Everything she says will be true. Humanity does seek peace. We do want cooperation. She paused. We just plan to negotiate from a position of strength rather than submission. As dawn broke over the lunar landscape, Ilara boarded her shuttle. The official delegation had already departed, maintaining the charade of Earth's subservience until the very last moment. Ilara would travel separately, aboard a ship that ostensibly didn't exist, to rendezvous with Admiral Hassan's fleet. Commander, Dr. Nakamura called out as Ilara prepared to board. The final tests were successful. The enhanced quantum shield is operational on all primary vessels. Ilara nodded. Thank you, Doctor. Your work may save us all. As the shuttle lifted off, Ilara watched the blue planet recede. For 15 years, humanity had lived in the shadow of alien dominance. Now it was time to step into the light. The Centennial Assembly awaited, and with it, the moment when Earth would unveil its hidden might, a revelation that would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. The reckoning dawned. The Galactic Council station hung in space like an immense jewel, a marvel of engineering that reflected the combined technological prowess of the 5 founder species. From a distance, it resembled a massive crystalline lotus, its translucent petals stretching outward to capture the light of the nearby binary stars. Each petal housed the representatives of dozens of species, carefully separated according to their status in the galactic hierarchy. Ambassador Sophia Rice felt a momentary surge of awe as their transport approached the station. Despite 15 years of alien occupation, most humans had never seen anything like this. Earth's official representatives were rarely invited to such gatherings, and when they were tucked away in the outermost sections reserved for lesser species. Today would be different. Prepare for docking procedures, announced the pilot, a young woman who, like everyone else aboard the transport, was far more than she appeared. Lieutenant Maya Tanaka was not simply a pilot but one of Earth's most decorated combat officers, a distinction that remained carefully hidden beneath her unassuming demeanor. Sophia smoothed down her diplomatic attire, simple blue robes that denoted Earth's Class 4 status. Beside her, General Victor Santiago adjusted his collar, uncomfortable in the civilian clothes required for this mission. As Earth's military representative, his presence was barely tolerated by the Concordium authorities, who preferred dealing with more reasonable humans. Remember, Sophia said quietly, No matter what happens in there, we maintain the facade until the signal comes. The transport docked with a gentle shudder. As the doors opened, they were greeted by a pair of Dracari guards, their scaled bodies encased in gleaming battle armor. The reptilian species served as the Concordium's primary military force, their natural aggression channeled into rigidly disciplined service. Follow. One of them commanded in the simplified galactic standard used when addressing lower species. Your section is prepared. They were led through sweeping corridors that teemed with alien life. Sophia noted how other species gave the Dracari a wide berth. Fear, she realized, was the true currency of the Concordium's peace. Everyone in their designated place, afraid to step out of line. Rather than being escorted to the outer chambers where Class 4 species were typically housed, they were surprisingly directed toward one of the central assembly halls. The change unsettled Sophia. Had their plans been discovered? A tall, willowy figure approached. Ambassador Thelverin of the Vesperians, one of the few members of a founder species who regularly engaged with lesser beings. His translucent skin shifted colors with his emotions, currently displaying a calm blue. Ambassador Reyes, he greeted, his voice melodious. The Council has granted your request for an audience in the primary chamber. This is unprecedented for your status level. Sophia bowed respectfully, hiding her surprise. We are honored by the Council's consideration. Indeed. Thelverin's skin flickered briefly to a deeper purple, curiosity, perhaps, or suspicion. Your petition has generated considerable interest. Not many Class 4 species demonstrate such initiative. As they were led into the vast, domed primary chamber, Sophia exchanged a subtle glance with General Santiago. This wasn't part of the plan. Being granted a hearing in the primary chamber meant their address would be witnessed by representatives from all major species, hundreds of potential witnesses. The chamber itself was breathtaking. A vast amphitheater with concentric rings of seating rising up toward the distant ceiling. At the center stood the council dais, where representatives of the 5 founder species presided over the proceedings. Above the dais floated a massive holographic display showing the galactic map, with territories clearly marked according to ownership and status. Earth, a tiny blue dot in an unremarkable spiral arm, was barely visible. As they were directed to the speaker's position, a small platform that would elevate them slightly for visibility but keep them well below the level of the council dais. Sophia activated the subdermal communicator implanted beneath her ear. Change of plans, she subvocalized, knowing her words would be transmitted to Commander Chen and the waiting fleet. They've put us in the primary chamber. Maximum visibility. The response came seconds later, Ilara's voice clear in her inner ear. Understood. This could work to our advantage. Proceed as planned. Fleet standing by. The session began with the traditional invocation, a ceremonial acknowledgement of the Concordium's authority that dated back to its founding. Then, one by one, various matters were brought before the Council. Territorial disputes, resource allocations, petitions for status reconsideration. Each was handled with efficient precision, the decisions of the founders accepted without question. Finally, the Thalaxian Counselor, a crystalline being whose body refracted light in mesmerizing patterns, announced, "We now recognize the representatives of species 4172, designation human, from the world classified as Earth." The platform rose slightly, bringing Sophia and General Santiago into better view of the assembly. Sophia stepped forward, back straight, head high. "Esteemed counselors," she began, her voice amplified throughout the chamber. "Honored representatives, we come before you with gratitude for this opportunity to address the Galactic Council." The formalities were necessary, a show of deference expected from a species of their status. As Sophia spoke, she could sense the indifference of many in the chamber. To them, this was merely a curious diversion, a brief interlude before returning to matters of true importance. "Earth has been a member of the Concordium for 15 years, she continued. "During this time, we have learned much about galactic society, about the principles that govern relationships between species. We have fulfilled our designated role, providing resources and labor as required by our status. The Almost Counselor, a being that existed as much in virtual space as physical reality, interrupted. Your productivity has been noted as adequate, though reports indicate sporadic resistance among your population. This is not the forum for labor grievances, Ambassador. State your petition clearly. Sophia nodded respectfully. Of course, Counselor. Earth petitions the Council for reconsideration of our classification. We believe our species has demonstrated qualities that merit elevation to Class 3 status, which would grant us limited autonomy over our resource allocation and reduced conscription quotas. A murmur rippled through the chamber, not of outrage, but of amusement. The Dracari Counselor, a massive reptilian with ceremonial scars etched across his scales, let out a sound that approximated laughter. Bold, he remarked, for a species that has yet to independently develop effective interstellar travel. By what measure do you consider yourselves worthy of elevation? This was the moment. Sophia took a deep breath. The next words would set everything in motion. By the measure of our potential, Counselor, humanity has much to offer the Concordium beyond simple resources and labor. We believe a revaluation would benefit all parties. The Mithridian Counselor, a swirling mass of gaseous particles contained within a specialized environmental field, pulsed with dismissive colors. Potential is meaningless without demonstration. Your species has shown no exceptional qualities that would warrant. The chamber's emergency alarms suddenly blared to life, cutting off the Counselor mid-sentence. The massive holographic display above the dais shifted, showing a fleet of warships emerging from hyperspace near the station. Counselors, announced a frantic Dracari security officer, we have detected multiple unauthorized vessels. They bear the markings of the Voraxian hegemony. The chamber erupted in chaos. The Voraxians, a militaristic species that had refused to join the Concordium, had long threatened the stability of the galactic peace. For centuries, they had been contained to a distant sector, but now they had apparently brought the fight directly to the heart of Concordium power. The Thalaxian Counselor's crystalline form pulsed with alarm. Activate all defensive systems, security protocols Alpha through Gamma, evacuation procedures for all Founder representatives. As panic spread through the chamber, Sophia and General Santiago remained calmly in place. This was not part of their plan. This was something entirely unexpected. Commander, Sophia vocalized urgently. Are you seeing this? Ilara's voice came through clearly. We're tracking it. The Voraxian fleet just jumped in. 17 battlecruisers and supporting vessels. They're launching fighters. This isn't a raid. It's a full-scale attack. General Santiago leaned closer to Sophia. This changes everything. If the station falls, it won't, Sophia replied firmly. Then, to Ilara, how soon can our fleet arrive? 10 minutes at maximum burn. But this isn't our fight. Sophia watched as the holographic display showed the Voraxian vessels deploying in attack formation. The station's defenses were formidable, but they hadn't been designed to withstand an assault of this magnitude. The Concordium had grown complacent in its centuries of unchallenged rule. It is now, Sophia decided. Implement Protocol Thunderbolt. We're accelerating the timeline. In the midst of the chaos, Sophia strode purposefully toward the council dais, an action so presumptuous that several nearby representatives gasped in shock. A Dracari guard moved to intercept her, but General Santiago stepped between them. Counselors, Sophia called out, her voice cutting through the panic. Earth can help. The Vesperian counselor, his skin now pulsing with alarm signals, turned to her in disbelief. Return to your designated area, Ambassador. This is a matter for the Defense Command. The station's outer defenses will fail within the hour, Sophia stated calmly. The Voraxian attack pattern indicates they've studied your protocols. They know exactly where to strike. The Dracari counselor snarled. How would you possibly know that, human? Because we've studied them too, Sophia replied. For 15 years, we've analyzed every aspect of Concordium defense systems, their strengths and their weaknesses. Before the counselor could respond, the station shuddered violently. The holographic display flickered, showing Voraxian fighters breaking through the first defensive perimeter. Ambassador Reyes, the Omos counselor's digitized voice cut through the chaos. If your species possesses relevant tactical information, you will share it immediately. Sophia stood her ground. We can do better than that. We can save this station and everyone aboard. But first, you need to understand who we really are. With that, she activated her communicator, this time not bothering to conceal the action. Commander Chen, execute Protocol Thunderbolt. Authorization Prometheus. For several seconds, nothing happened. The counselors stared at her in confusion that quickly turned to outrage. The Dracari counselor signaled to his guards, who moved to seize Sophia and General Santiago. Then the holographic display changed again. Emerging from hyperspace came a fleet of ships, unlike anything the Concordium had ever seen from a Class 4 species. Sleek, advanced vessels, dozens of them, arranged in perfect battle formation. What deception is this? Demanded the Thalaxian counselor. Sophia smiled. No deception, counselor. Just the truth we've kept hidden. While you believed us to be simple, primitive humans, that fleet represents 15 years of preparation. Technology we developed while you thought we were struggling with basic fusion power. As the chamber watched in stunned silence, the human fleet engaged the Voraxian forces. Their tactics were unlike anything seen in standard Concordium military doctrine. Unpredictable, adaptive, devastatingly effective. Where Concordium ships fought in rigid formations governed by thousands of years of military tradition, the human vessels moved like predators, striking from unexpected angles, using the chaos of battle to their advantage. Most shocking of all was their defensive capability. When Voraxian energy weapons struck the human ships, the attacks seemed to dissipate harmlessly, or in some cases, reflect back upon their source. Impossible, whispered the Mithridian counselor. That technology was lost millennia ago. Not lost, Sophia corrected. Hidden, just like humanity's true potential. Within 20 minutes, the tide of battle had turned decisively. The Voraxian fleet, which had expected to face only the standard Concordium defenses, found themselves outmaneuvered and overwhelmed. One by one, their ships were disabled or destroyed. As the last Voraxian cruiser retreated into hyperspace, the chamber remained silent, all eyes fixed on the holographic display, showing the human fleet now in defensive formation around the station. Sophia turned to face the council. For 15 years, the Concordium has treated Earth as little more than a resource to be exploited. You categorized us without understanding us. You saw our technological limitations but failed to recognize our greatest strength, our capacity to adapt, to innovate, to overcome. The Vesperian counselor's skin had shifted to a deep indigo, a color Sophia had never seen before. How did you conceal this level of development? Our monitoring systems were designed to detect known technologies, General Santiago interjected. We developed along different paths. We reversed engineered what we could from your technology, then combined it with principles you had overlooked or forgotten. On cue, a new figure materialized in the chamber, a holographic projection of Commander Ilara Chen, standing on the bridge of Earth's flagship, the Prometheus. Counselors, Ilara addressed them directly. I am Commander Chen of Earth's Defense Force. The fleet you see before you is but a fraction of humanity's true strength. We have maintained the illusion of compliance while building our capacity throughout the solar system and beyond. The Dracari counselor's rage was palpable. This is betrayal. Deception. No, Sophia countered firmly. This is survival. You gave us no choice but to develop in secret. Had we revealed our progress gradually, you would have crushed us before we could defend ourselves. History has shown how the Concordium deals with species that develop too quickly. The chamber had fallen into shocked silence. The representatives of hundreds of species watched the confrontation, many seeing for the first time a direct challenge to the authority of the founders. The Thalaxian counselor's crystalline form pulsed rapidly, a sign of intense internal communication with a hive mind. When he spoke again, his tone had shifted subtly. You have violated numerous Concordium directives. The penalties are irrelevant. Ilara's hologram interrupted. The galaxy has changed today, not just because of what humanity has revealed, but because of what the Varaxians nearly accomplished. They came within minutes of destroying the station and the entire council. The Concordium's vaunted military supremacy proved inadequate. The Almost Counselor's digital avatar flickered as he processed this reality. What do you propose, Commander? A new relationship, Ilara stated simply. Earth will no longer accept Class 4 status or any designation that denies our sovereignty. We seek recognition as equals and the right to develop without artificial constraints. Preposterous, the Dracari counselor snarled. One victory does not earn you equality with species that have ruled the stars for millennia. Perhaps not, Sophia acknowledged, but it does earn us the right to negotiate. She gestured to the holographic display, where the human fleet remained in position, their advanced weapon systems clearly visible. We could have chosen destruction. Instead, we chose to save this station, to save all of you. That, too, says something about humanity. A new voice entered the conversation. Ambassador Thelvarin, who had been watching the proceedings with intense interest. The humans raised valid points, counselors. Their actions today merit consideration, and they are not alone in their dissatisfaction with the current order. Throughout the chamber, representatives of other lesser species had begun to murmur in agreement. What had begun as humanity's solitary stand was rapidly evolving into something larger, a movement. The 5 counselors conferred privately for several minutes, their communication shielded from the assembly. When they turned back, it was the Vesperian who spoke. The council will recess to consider these unprecedented developments. In the interim, we acknowledge Earth's contribution to the defense of this station. Human vessels will be granted temporary authority to maintain defensive positions. It was not capitulation, but it was a beginning. As the session formally adjourned, the chamber buzzed with excited conversation. Representatives from dozens of species approached Sophia and General Santiago, some openly, others more discreetly, all sensing that a fundamental shift had occurred in the galactic power structure. Ambassador Thelvarin drew Sophia aside. You have started something today that cannot be easily controlled, he warned, though his skin color suggested more fascination than concern. We didn't start this, Sophia replied. The Concordium did, the day they decided some species were inherently superior to others. We're simply the first to challenge that assumption effectively. Hours later, aboard the Prometheus, Commander Chen welcomed Sophia and General Santiago to the bridge. Through the viewport, they could see the Galactic Council station, now surrounded by the protective formation of Earth's fleet. The counselors are still deliberating, Ilara informed them. Our intelligence suggests they're divided. The Thalaxians and Omos favor negotiation. The Dracari are advocating for a military response. They'd lose, General Santiago stated flatly. They know that now. Sophia gazed out at the stars. What they don't yet realize is that this isn't just about Earth anymore. We've shown other species what's possible. The messages are already flowing in. Offers of alliance, requests for protection, expressions of solidarity. Ilara nodded thoughtfully. The Arcturus Coalition, just as we planned, but accelerated by circumstance. For 15 years, humanity had hidden in the shadows, building strength while appearing weak. Today they had stepped into the light, revealing not just their military might, but their vision for a different kind of galaxy, one where power was balanced, where species were judged by their actions rather than their history. The Galactic Council had never seen it coming. They had dismissed humans as primitive, unworthy of serious consideration. They had failed to recognize the defining trait that had allowed humanity to survive and thrive against overwhelming odds throughout its history: the absolute refusal to accept subjugation. As Ilara turned to give orders for the fleet's next deployment, a message arrived from the station. The Council had reached a preliminary decision. They would open formal negotiations with Earth as a sovereign entity, not as equals to the Founders, but no longer as subordinates. It was just the beginning. The galaxy was changing, and humanity stood at the center of that transformation. The shadows of defiance had given way to the reckoning dawn of a new era. Earth had unveiled its hidden might, and the stars themselves would never be the same.